So a problem I don't think a lot of people thought was going to be an issue during these times would be people not wanting to work. In the midst of a global pandemic, whatever stage you may think it is at, there are still millions of people out of work. There are still millions of people who lost their jobs and have been yet to recover. Hundreds of thousands, probably millions. Now, I know hundreds of thousands of small businesses just in New York, I believe. Something I don't think a lot of people thought was going to be an issue during this time would be teachers not wanting to go back to school and not teach when school was reopened. I'm referring to the teachers in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Kenosha, Wisconsin is where the shooting of Jacob Blake took place, which ignited more and more protests and riots across the nation. If anybody wants a really good source on information for the schooling system and trying to keep up to date with things going on in our school system, at DeAngelis Corey, at DeAngelis Corey, Corey, no spaces or anything. Corey DeAngelis, great follow on Twitter. From September 21st, families in Kenosha, Wisconsin found out after 10 p.m. last night that 7 public schools aren't reopening in person today. Over 276 teachers called in. That's 20% of the number of full-time teachers in the district. That's a really incredible number when you think about it. If you have 276 teachers calling out, they have approximately 1,365 in this school district. That's 20% of all teachers in that district all calling out of work. And after seeing all of these school administrators and seeing state and local governments and federal governments in some cases trying to step in and help students get back to school, no matter what the situation may be, whether it's in person, whether it's online, a mix of the two. After seeing all of that work put in by so many people, and then finally the day is there for these kids to open up their school year, and teachers are calling in by the hundreds. Now, if you were to say, okay, there were a little bit of an outbreak, okay, you get it. If there were, 10 teachers, okay, you get it. But almost 300 teachers, that's appalling, and every one of those teachers at the Kenosha School District should be ashamed of themselves. And if their call-outs/absences weren't due to real concerns, and especially when it looks like it could be a coordinated type of call-out when you see almost 300 teachers do it, I think the school district should take disciplinary action, especially after all of the efforts they've taken to get school back, or to at least look into if it was a coordinated attempt among the teachers to send a message, because school districts shouldn't stand for this type of thing. If you want to make a social statement or a political statement, do it on your own time. Just like people criticize athletes sometimes for speaking up in the wrong situations, myself included, when I think it's necessary. I'd say the same thing about teachers when it comes to making social or political statements when it comes to your job. I'd say the same thing about anybody in any profession. My job for iHeartMedia is a traffic reporter, and what I do as a traffic reporter on their time is their business. So if you're getting paid to be a teacher and you want to make a political statement, I don't think it's the time to do that, and the schools should step in to avoid this from happening. Another situation happened right here in the Valley in Arizona. Cactus Shadows high school teachers calling sick over COVID-19 concerns. This was from a few weeks ago, September 6th. Plans to return to in-person learning at Cactus Shadows High School are currently at a standstill. The principal, Tony Vining, said Friday that they couldn't reopen because of a lack of staffing. There's an article by Emma Lockhart at azfamily.com. Quote from Michelle Williams, a parent at Cactus Shadows High School. They desperately want to be with their peers and their teachers. That is where they learn best. Cave Creek Unified School District said at least 24 teachers are calling out sick this Tuesday over coronavirus concerns. The district in Maricopa County meets all the state's health benchmarks to return to in-person learning, but some teachers still don't feel safe. In their own form of protest, some students said they are holding a rally at the high school on Tuesday morning to urge the district to let them back on campus. Said Williams, it has taken on a life of its own with the students because they feel very strongly about the fact that they have rights and they want a choice. Well, I'm with the students here. They do have a choice. They want to attend school. They want to get back in the classroom where they learn best and where they feel normal. This is where kids need to be, is back in the classroom. It's, just an abomination to me that there are so many that are okay sacrificing the futures of these kids. I truly feel that a student who loses a year off of their elementary, middle, or high school years without the in-person learning and the same structure and learning style that they have been used to, it's really going to affect them long term, and this is something that we really need to keep an eye on. I don't think teachers should be protesting when the school district has cleared all benchmarks that the state's health department has set forth for school districts to return. What's up to all my listeners? Just want to remind you, if you can, to head over and rate and review the podcast on any platform that you are listening to the podcast on. If you've got a comment about any of the episodes, just go ahead and leave me a review and drop us a 5-star. Again, this really helps the spread of the podcast. It really helps the word get out, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you take a few seconds to head on over to your choice of podcast platforms, throw the show a 5-star rating, and review it if you can. If you enjoy the show, I'd really appreciate if you help spread the word. And now, back to the show. I'm going to move on to another subject that is something that every single parent and every single person in the country should really start paying attention to, this new phenomenon going around. And since this newfound theory on race in the country, you really need to start paying attention to what your children are being taught in the schools. You really need to start taking a look at your children's syllabus, no matter if they're in first grade, second grade, third grade, kindergarten, high school. There is stuff going on all around the country that is disturbing. If you're a parent, I don't have any children, but with someone who does have aspirations of having children one day, if I saw this stuff going on in the schools that my kids were attending, I'd be livid. So this is from Lowell High School in San Francisco. This is from Dr. Carlin B. Dr. Borisenko has been on the show previously to talk about her transformation from left to right and what led her to that. And since then, she has been a really great source for a lot of this division and racist notions that are going on around the country. So she shared this on Twitter. Dr. Carlin B. Lowell High School in San Francisco is mandating their students take this anti-racism assessment. Their answers are not anonymous, meaning they will be logged and documented somewhere and probably used against the students later. In this anti-racism assessment, the first question is, what is an anti-racism statement? First choice, I'm colorblind. I don't care if you're white, black, blue, or green. The second choice, Lowell's dress code discriminates against black students. I actually need to tell this to my counselor and administrators. And the third one is, quote, all lives matter. So, very interesting way to start the school year off there. What is structural or systematic racism is the second question there. And then another question on it. Do you feel black and brown people are treated differently at Lowell? Is being not racist enough to improve our Lowell community? So that's just one assessment from one high school in California. They are making their students take anti-racism assessments at the beginning of the school year, getting their personal thoughts on race and how they feel towards black and brown people, I guess if they're white or not black and brown. The Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, racism, all of this, critical race theories, these are all creeping their way into the classroom very quickly, and it's something we need to pay attention to. Also, here is another example. This is from a tweet from September 16th, and someone posted grade 7 first day, and it was a picture of their child's, looks like their homework. The search for a COVID-19 vaccine. Now, this is 7th grade. 1. Consider the following quote by Dr. Richard Hatchett, who is leading the COVAX initiative. Quote, ensuring fair access to a vaccine is not only a matter of equity, it is the fastest way to end this pandemic. The questions underneath that. A. Whom do you think might be the most affected without the efforts of COVAX to ensure fair access to a COVID-19 vaccine? Explain. B. As you see it, how will fair access contribute to ending the pandemic? And the second question, once a COVID-19 vaccine is found, there is no guarantee that everyone will want to receive it. Do you feel that vaccinations should be mandatory? Why or why not? And explain. Now, the subjects that are being asked are definitely topics that we should all discuss. But why are we asking 7th grade students how they feel about vaccinations? Why are we asking 7th grade students if they are going to take the COVID-19 vaccine if and when it is available? It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. It's a way of polluting their brains with all of the stuff going on outside of school, and it's bringing everything into the classroom. This is just another example of, a school or a business or an organization around the country that's going above and beyond trying to please the very vocal minority. And then this is also a picture from northwestern.edu/campus-reform. I don't know if this was Northwestern University. I couldn't find it, but on Twitter, this is an actual picture taken at Northwestern, northwestern.edu/campus-reform. This is now a deleted website. Testing registration note. You will be asked about sex at birth and ethnicity during registration. Northwestern apologizes in advance that this is not aligned with our culture and practice of inclusivity. Unfortunately, these fields and classifications are required for reporting results to the Public Health Department. Please reach out to a testing site staff member if you have questions or concerns. So Northwestern is actually going against its own rules by asking about sex at birth and your ethnicity during testing registration. Another example of the colleges going above and beyond woke scold status. I'm gonna wrap up this next segment of our school special and what's being taught in classrooms and things we need to start looking out for, whether it be younger children or, kids in high school, kids in college. Here's the story from outside of Dallas, Texas at the end of August. 8th grade teachers in a school outside of Dallas, Texas gave students a homework assignment comparing police officers to slave owners and the KKK. In each one of these pictures, there is an African-American man on the ground with, different depictions of police, the KKK. This is from Fox 2 KXAN in Dallas. An 8th grade social studies assignment in Dallas came under fire after criticism over how it depicted police and their treatment of black Americans. The assignment given to students at Cooper Junior High in Wiley, Texas, used political cartoons that some critics, including the National Fraternal Order of Police, say compared police officers to the Ku Klux Klan and slave owners. The cartoon shows 5 similar scenes: African-American men on the ground with their hands restrained behind their backs and a white man's knee on their neck, seemingly a reference to the death of George Floyd by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. The vice president of the FOP, Joe Grimaldi, sent a letter to Wiley Independent School District Superintendent David Vincent on August 19th saying, "I cannot begin to tell you how abhorrent and disturbing this comparison is, but what is more disturbing is that no adult within your school thought before sending this assignment to children. According to its instructions, the assignment aimed to serve as discussion on First Amendment rights and racial equality protests across the nation during 2020. But Grimaldi says the assignment aimed to indoctrinate students." Texas Governor Greg Abbott took to Twitter to express his displeasure with Wiley School District and the assignment, tweeting the teacher should be fired and asking the Texas Education Agency to investigate and take action. "It's the opposite of what must be taught," he said. Wiley School District issued a statement after pulling the assignment saying, "We are sorry for any hurt that may have been caused through this lesson. The assignment has been removed and students will not be expected to complete it." The district, which did not identify the teacher due to privacy laws, also said that the cartoons are not part of the district's curriculum, resources, or documents. The Texas Education Agency confirmed to CNN that it is investigating the assignment, saying it does not condone the use of divisive images. If that is not disturbing to you, I'm not even a parent, like I've said numerous times. I'm not even a parent, and seeing that in our schools these days in 8th grade is just, come on. Like they said even afterwards, this isn't even something that's in the curriculum. This isn't something that should be taught to our students, and if something's not in the curriculum and something isn't approved by the school, this is just proof that teachers can push their own agenda on students. So when so many people in the political and cultural sphere say that so many school institutions, whether it be the public school system, the college school system, or what have you, when they say that they've been taken over by a certain political agenda, when you see stuff like this being inserted into assignments by teachers without the permission of the school districts, it's just proof that no matter how comfortable or how much you think you know your child's teacher, take a look at their homework, take a look at what they're learning, pay attention a little bit if, you're maybe a little more hands-off as a parent, because this stuff in our schools, especially at such a young age, it's polluting their brains and teaching them things about racism and race in our country. And I think we need to get back to our core principles and core values, and teaching our children about America being a racist country is not the way to get there.